still go, 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 go.
Knudson,
Mr. Tursky, what's up?
this is Two Guys Talking Golf.
Oh, love it. Love to be back.
Wyndham Championship week, baby.
Oof. The Wyndham Championship.
The last chance for people to sneak into the top 125.
Is this the last one? This is last one.
Last one.
All right.
Then we got playoffs coming. Memphis,
Yep.
Delaware, then Atlanta, playing for the big bucks. But this week, everyone's fighting to get in. So
Yeah.
there's a little tension in the air, I will say. There was also heat and humidity. It was very hot down in North Carolina, Greensboro. Everyone was sweating up a storm. But yeah, you could feel a little tension in the air. Everyone's taking it pretty seriously. This is the time of the year where not a lot of equipment changes are happening, really. Not a lot of testing. Guys are kind of like settled into their bags and really just focused on basically making the cut and then finishing as high as they possibly can to stack up some points. Like, that's where we're at in the season. Or they go over to the Korn Ferry Tour Finals and see what happens there. You know, that's a very competitive event down there. I believe that Greg Moore will be going to the Korn Ferry Tour Finals, whereas I will be going to the BMW Championship. So if you're interested in some Korn Ferry Tour what's in the bags, Greg's got you covered. If you're more of a BMW Championship guy, I got you covered. But this week we're both out there covering what little changes were happening, really. But we do have some interesting topics this week, equipment-wise. Would you like to start off with letting the people know what you got coming up? Because I believe you might be playing in the Ryder Cup.
And it'll be interesting. I mean, the Korn Ferry is kind of an interesting thing to see. We don't see a ton of it, so it'll be exciting to see where Greg goes with that. But yeah, I will be the next 3 days. I'll be playing 90 holes of golf in 3 days. And, we go up little 16 guys. We've had the same 16. This year we have one change. One guy, him and his wife, are expecting a baby, like, now-ish.
Is that like a cop-out excuse? Did he actually go to LIV and he didn't get approved to play?
From what I heard, he has. From what I've heard, he has not signed an official offer.
Okay.
So I think he's still eligible. He's still good. So this year we got one sub, but we had 16 guys. We have 2 8-man teams, and we play a little mini Ryder Cup style. So we play a little 2-man best ball, a little 2-man modified alternate shot, a little 2-man scramble. We kind of rotate through, and we play 18-18 or 36-36-18, go home. So
I absolutely love that. There's nothing more fun than splitting up teams within a group. You kind of get that competition flowing and changing up the format a little bit, because 18, 36, a lot of like buddies trips are like that. And then by like the last day, everyone's like, well, I just shot 108 2 days in a row, and I don't really feel like playing 36. Like, I'm dead. Who set up this trip? It's awful.
Yeah.
But if you change up formats, you play a little alternate shot or best ball or like 2-man scrambles or something like that, it kind of keeps everyone engaged into it. You rack up the point system. At dinner every night, you're chirping at the other team. Maybe even split up tables so that like half the trip's not even a part of it. You know what I mean? Like, that's all really fun to me. If anyone's planning like a bachelor party trip, I will say that's the move, is you kind of get 2 captains and let them pick. Like, we did that one time for a bachelor party about a year back now, and it just gets everyone chirping. Like, I got picked last, or I got picked first. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that camaraderie. It kind of builds more than just, okay, let's go play golf. Here's the time. And then if you double bogey the first hole, it's just like, all right, this trip's awful.
No.
Gets the competition high the whole time.
So we take it. I mean, like, we take it serious. Like, everybody wants to win. We have a big trophy. Everybody wants their name on the trophy. But it's not so cutthroat where you're not going to give like somebody else a yardage. If you walk into a par 3 and you laser, you're not going to like not tell the other team that it's 187 or whatever.
You'll tell the other team. Just you're going to tell them the wrong yardage.
Well, you're gonna add 6 or 7 yards, no problem. But no, I mean we had our draft. We have 2 captains every year. We had our draft back in like June. where we pick the teams, and we take it pretty seriously. Where Sunday is singles, match play, singles. So at the end of Saturday night, the captains get together, decide who's playing who, and put all the the matchups together. And you get a team shirt. So my team is going to be kind of this blue pattern shirt. Sometimes you get a hat. Sometimes it just depends on the swag gear what you get. But you're definitely getting a polo. So everybody rolls out as teams. And then we've even gone so far as, I think it started last year, whoever was picked dead last had actually Mr. Irrelevant on the collar, embroidered into the shirt. Or it was on the back of the shirt, something.
Incredible.
And my youngest brother was Mr. Irrelevant this year, so it'll be interesting to see if that name is, in fact, embroidered on the back of his shirt somewhere. Because, and then we have an email thread going with everybody, in there, and it has just been trash talk since June. I mean, it's just been ruthless in there. So it's about to be on. I mean, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., first tee time. I'm actually in the first group, so it's going to be good. It's modified alternate shot, first 9 out, modified alternate shot. So that's going to be interesting to go out and have to play that right out of the gate. So it'll be
what's the vibe? Are you shotgunning a Coors Light on the first tee? Is it Bloody Marys, or is everyone taking it like fairly seriously? It's waters until lunchtime.
No, I mean it's going to be. It depends all on the players. We've got some, like, as the group has collectively gotten a little bit older and had families and children and things like that, things have slowed down. Previous years, there have been some people rolling in minus shirts. In various levels of intoxication. Right out of the gate, though, a couple guys will crack a few brewskis right out of the gate just to get rolling. For me, it really depends. I think I'm going to take that first couple holes easy, and then we'll see where we are. If we need to get a little loose and get a little aggressive, score some points if we're down, maybe I might see if there's a cold Budweiser available from the old cart girl or something like that. But I'm gonna go out early, take it easy, loosen up on the range, and then we'll have to kind of go from there.
Are there any other gearheads out there, or does everyone think you're just insane?
I'm insane. I bring 2 full bags, 2 full sets. But I already, yeah. And then I've already my show. My show this week. If you go listen to the shameless plug, if you go listen to Club Junkie, more than half the show is talking about the 2 bags I'm bringing and what clubs are going in which bag.
Okay.
And then I've already got a text from my other brother. I have 2 younger brothers. My middle brother already sent me a text. Driver shaft snapped on like the 3rd hole, so I've got one glued up, ready to go. I just got to throw a grip on it to take it up tomorrow morning. So
they came to the right guy.
Yeah,
I think you have a couple extra shafts and a couple driver heads laying around.
Yeah. So I'll and that happened before too. We had a guy who broke a driver, and thankfully I had full second bag, so I gave him the driver out of that bag, and I think he complained that he didn't hit it very well and kind of blamed me for losing some points. But I was like, hey man, at least you had a driver in the bag. I mean, at least you didn't have to play the whole 90 holes with a 3-wood. So quit complaining.
Is it a handicapped thing, and what are like the skill levels?
No, it's not handicap. We basically try to match up though. We try to match up as best we can. Like, I mean, we look at handicaps. Not everybody in the group carries one. But the skill level realistically is there's I think the lowest handicap is probably around a 7-ish, 6 or 7, and then it goes up to. I'm trying to think. I think my youngest brother, who is Mr. Irrelevant, might have the highest handicap, and I think he's probably like a 20. He's probably like a 20-something, like 20, 21. He's probably right around there. And what we try to do is just.
So there's no one that's like a 45 that's going to shoot like 130.
I mean, somebody might shoot 130, but it's probably more because of the beverages on hand and things like that. But but we try to match up. Like the guy, the worst player will never play the best player in match play. We always try to make things as even as possible. And even in the pairings, the 2-man teams, we may have like one of the lower handicaps with one of the higher ones, but then we'll do the same thing on the other team. So we try to match it up as best we can, because it's just the scoring, throwing in handicaps makes it even harder and all that. So we just try to make it as equal as possible. And so far it's worked out pretty well. This is my 4th year in it. And this will be my 4th year. I've won twice. I've lost once. So going into this one, looking to get my name back on the trophy. It's been a year without it.
Well, good luck out there. Play well. Make sure you stay hydrated.
Yeah.
Speaking of team play and captaincy.
Yeah.
This is the transition right here.
Love
Davis Love, the third. He's the captain of the United States team for the President's Cup this year. That'll be at Quail Hollow in Charlotte. And they are playing this week the Wyndham Championship at Sedgefield Country Club in Greensboro. Now, Davis Love III, he's kind of the king of North Carolina. He went to UNC. He's going to be the captain at Quail Hollow, and he's won the Wyndham Championship 3 times. Well, it wasn't the Wyndham Championship. In 1992, I got it written down because I was going to forget these names. In 1992, he won the Kmart Greater Greensboro Open. In 2006, he won the Chrysler Classic of Greensboro. Then in 2015, like his most recent PGA Tour victory, the last one he won, Wyndham Championship 2015. So technically he's won it 3 times. Like this is all considered the same event. Going back years and years, his first 2 wins came at Forest Oaks, which is where they used to play it. Now they play it at Sedgefield, which is where he won in 2015. So for PGAtour.com, I don't know if people know this or not, but Golf WRX writes either 2 to 4 articles a week for PGAtour.com. They are our equipment, content sharing partners. So we write some stories for them each week. This week we did a breakdown of Davis Love III's What's in the Bag from 92 compared to his 2022 What's in the Bag, which is 30 years ago. 1992 is 30 years ago. How old does that make you feel?
That's crazy. Pretty old. I was 11 in 92, so I was in what, like 7th grade or something like that. I don't know I don't know, 6th or 7th grade, something like that. I was 11, so that was definitely a long time ago.
Yeah, I was 2 years old.
Seriously, were you born yet?
I was 2 years old.
I'm about to say,
baby.
I'm about to say, were you even in this world at that time?
Baby Tersh.
But wow, yeah, 30 years ago. 30 years ago. That's equipment had to be substantially different back then compared to now.
Understatement. Okay, so 92. Let's go through his What's in the Bag a little bit. So in 1985, I was going back and I found actually this book that Davis Love III wrote in 97 along with Michael Bamberger. I don't know if you know Michael Bamberger, but I would say one of the more famous golf writers. He's written a lot of books. He's written for all sorts of publications and websites. I think he's at the Fire Pit Collective now. With like Shipnuck in them. Yeah. Either way, I found 1997. I'm just trying to pull some of this stuff up. So he was actually talking about this driver. 1985. He said, "It was given to me by a good friend, Bob Spence. I experiment with metal drivers often, but I find they go marginally longer than my wooden driver, but they don't give me any shape. I find it more difficult to create shape with my drives off a metal face, which is important to me. I love the sound my ball makes as it comes off the persimmon insert of my driver. I'm no technophobe. My fairway woods have metal heads, but when it comes to my old wooden driver, I guess the only thing I can really say is that I enjoy golf more with it, and I think I play better with it. Golf is somehow more pleasing to me when played with a driver made of wood." He said that in 97, which is kind of when people were transitioning away. And in 1985, he put in this Cleveland Classic.
Oh, yeah.
Cleveland Classic oil-hardened RC 85. And he played that until 1997. So in 92, when he won at the Wyndham Championship, he was obviously playing this Cleveland Classic with a steel shaft, which I assume would be an X100. I'm not sure what other popular steel shafts were going on in 92. I was just born, but I would assume it's an X100. But that's a serious driver to still be using in 97. We've had some experience, me and you, trying out some old persimmon type drivers, and it doesn't really go very well.
No, I mean it's for the exact opposite reason of why he liked a persimmon driver. Mm-hmm. Tons of spin, the ball, you're able to shape crazy shots, which is what a lot of amateurs don't want to do. A lot of amateurs just want to hit it straight. and they like the metal heads, now titanium, no spin. The ball just goes pretty straight. Back then, I mean, the ball moved a ton. And, I mean, one, the ball was spinnier. Two, the heads were spinnier. And, yeah, there's not a lot of forgiveness also in a persimmon head. I mean, if you hit it out on the toe, hit it out on the heel, you're going to see much more curvature to the ball than you do nowadays. So, yeah, I mean, but 97, I mean, that's so late. That's like
really late. He was one of the last guys.
I mean, that's
to switch.
really late.
Literally.
Yeah, that's like that's kind of crazy how late that was. Because I mean, realistically, 97 was. I mean, geez, I was in high school. I mean, everything was steel back then. I don't think you could buy a wood driver in 97. At least not like. I mean, Louisville or whoever was probably still making some specialty pieces, stuff like that. But I don't think from a major OEM like a Cleveland, a TaylorMade, Callaway, Title, whoever. I'm pretty sure there wasn't a wood driver in the lineup.
I just love how stubborn he was about it too. Like he sees all of his fellow tour players are switching over to titanium, and he just doesn't. But at 97, so this book comes out in 97. That quote was from 97, and then in 1997 he actually switched to the 975D.
Oh wow!
Title is 975D in 97, like pretty early in it too. Just so you know, I've gone through every single photo of Davis Love from about 85 until 2000, looking at all his golf clubs. So what I think, and it's really hard to get information on some of this old stuff, but in his 3-wood, so he played the persimmon driver, but he had a metal-headed 3-wood, which I believe was a TaylorMade Tour Spoon 13 degree. And judging from the photos, they're all super grainy from back then. I think he had a Harrison boron graphite shaft in 1992. I haven't got full confirmation on it yet. There's a lot of moving parts trying to get information this old. There's a lot of emails and texts being exchanged and photos being analyzed and stuff like that. But as far as I could tell, it looked like a Harrison boron. So that's pretty interesting. He goes with the steel shafted persimmon driver and then a metal headed graphite shafted 3-wood.
Man, and Harrison's all. I mean, that's a name that you probably haven't heard of in forever when it comes to graphite shafts. They used to be the boys at it, and now, I mean, I don't even know if they're still in business anymore. They used to make. They had a good run, right? Like early 2000s with like a couple different shafts they made, and then it was pretty much kind of over for them. At least I think it is. I'd have to go online and see if they still make shafts, but they were cutting edge for a while.
Yep, and then going down into the irons, he wasn't playing a 5-wood, obviously not a hybrid, not a driving iron, but he did have a set of Tommy Armour 845s, 2-through pitching wedge, I believe. I believe he went all the way up to the 2-iron in the Tommy Armour 845s, but they weren't blades. They were like kind of cavity back style. I've never personally hit them. My dad never had that specific set laying around. He was more of like a ping guy. So he had all the old ping, all the old ping irons. But do you have any experience with the Tommy Armour 845s?
Yeah, I had a buddy who had a set. They were probably a little after. Well, they probably weren't too long after that. They were probably like end of high school. Had a set that I think he got from a dad, brother, something like that, and hit those. And I remember when I hit them, I thought they were like amazing. Like they were so like I was playing. Geez, at the time, whatever hand-me-downs my dad probably handed to me, which at the time could have even been like the 72 Apex blades. And they were just like so much longer, went so much higher. They were so much easier to hit. And then I remember playing a set of like knockoff versions that somebody had. Then instead of 845s, they were like something like, the 646s or who knows, they had some other like number, whatever. They were like a knockoff version, and I remember hitting those and again thinking, wow, these are so much better than what I have. But I knew a ton of people who had those irons. They were super classic. I mean, they still, I bet to this day there's probably a lot of people who would still play them.
Still playing them?
Who would? I mean, if you like game a set, go and play, they'd probably still play them. All
right, fair enough.
It's like the I2. To me, I don't get it. That iron to me is one of the ugliest irons like ever produced. The Ping I2, and I know I'm going to catch a ton of flack.
That's what my dad was playing back in the day. So hopefully he's not listening. You're going to get an earful.
And listen, Mr. Tursky, I
There you
apologize
go.
because it's nothing against you as a man. You're a great guy, but those irons are the ugliest irons ever made, and I don't
Wow.
get the whole thing with those.
You're gonna get flamed on
and if
social
there's-
media for saying that. That's like one of the
Yeah,
biggest
it's
cult
fine. I mean-
followings of irons, like in the game. No,
Yeah, no. I'm sorry, just not. Hey, you know what? They were great at their time, but they've been. It's
you don't
it's
like the
over.
ping zing.
Let them go. No. If you want to hang them on the wall, whatever, great. But you're never going to see a set of those.
Well, you're not about to like Davis Love III's wedges because he was playing ping I2, sand wedge, and love wedge. I'm not even kidding. I wish I was making that up, but he legitimately was.
Yeah, the reissue one. I think wasn't Mickelson? Like somebody said Mickelson had
Oh
one
yeah,
of those in his bag.
that's
too
kind of been
recently,
off and
so
on in
messing
his
around,
bag
So
throughout like Mickelson's whole
Yeah,
career.
for
He always
years.
tried to hide it, like he didn't want his sponsors knowing that he was playing the ping. But I don't know. I always thought that the ping I2, when it got down into the wedges, like I didn't really mind the irons. They were never my favorite. Personally, for me, I just didn't love the shape. It seemed like the offset and the hosel, something was weird about it. But when I go to open the
Yep.
lob wedge, it like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like an open face club to me. It just looks weird. I prefer that more rounded, like traditional wedge shape, but people go absolutely crazy over the ping I2s, and you still see them floating around today. If you go play muni golf, like I play a lot of muni golf, you'll see it in kind of the old timers type bag setups. Like
Yep.
you see a ping I2 all the time. So if you're in that world, if you're used to looking at a ping I2, I would probably be thrown off by like a Vokey or a Mac Daddy or a milled grind wedge myself because they're so much more rounded and they look completely different. So if you're used to that pointy toe, high toe, and like the way the hosel's set up and kind of the straighter leading edge to me, I could see why you would get thrown off and have trouble making the transition into a newer wedge. So it makes sense.
yeah. No, I mean it's. I mean I understand it. Like there's something about it that whether it's the sole design, whether it's the having that kind of high flared out toe that gives some real estate up top in case you catch it high and high off the toe and say a bunker shot or a shot of the rough that the ball's sitting up in or something like that. Like I understand it. And I think it's like you said, the wedges are slightly more acceptable, especially nowadays when you're seeing more of high toe style wedges from a lot of manufacturers. They've kind of become a little more accepting. But to me, I don't know. I guess there was something about it that just didn't work with my game or something. I hit a handful of them, and I never hit them that great. So they were never anything that I ever lusted over or searched eBay late at night for or anything like that. But those reissue ones have popped up in a few tour bags, especially right when they came out. There was a handful of them out there. I think, again, you probably see less of them now because there are so many other options with that kind of high sweeping toe style wedge that other people have gotten into. But yeah, they've been out there. I mean, they've definitely been more popular than I give them credit for. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and you're right. It has bled over into modern design. TaylorMade high toe, obviously
Yeah.
super popular.
PM grind.
Like a lot of the different companies actually have a high toe option. I don't have
Yep.
one in my bag, so that kind of tells you where I'm at with the design. I just don't love like a super high toe. It kind of throws me off when I throw the face open. But for CG purposes, if you're trying to hit like a really low flighted shot or you're trying to increase surface area, like when hitting out of the rough, kind of engage grooves when you miss it out towards the toe, like I see it as a viable option for people. It's just the way I use a lob wedge. Like I love to throw it open. Even if I'm hitting it low, I might have like the face open and try to feel like I'm releasing it low. You know what I mean? That open face, low spinning shot.
That everybody hits.
I usually chunk it,
a-
but yeah.
But yeah, you're well. I
I
played.
just want it available.
Yeah, I played the Cleveland the Zipcore full face, which was kind of the high toe. I played that a lot last year, and actually I hit it really well, and there was some great things about it. And for whatever reason this year, it just, I guess it's not in the bag at the moment. But yeah, I mean I've dabbled with it. I messed with the original PM grind when it came out. I played that for a little while. And then I tried the second PM grind and the shape got a little too funky, way too much offset for me. I didn't love it. But yeah, I mean, I've dabbled with it. I've messed with them, and there are, like they said, they serve a great purpose for certain shots and for players who play certain shots or certain conditions. I think they definitely have their spot.
You're just a big dabbler.
All right. Well, yeah, I like to dabble in a little everything except I2s and zings. Not dabble in those.
And then obviously with his putter, he used a ping answer like every other Tour Pro in 1992.
Yep.
So no shocker there. Would you like to flash forward and get a brief rundown of what he's playing now?
Sure, because he was a longtime Titleist guy. He's now free agent, right? He's still free agent, so
I believe
and he's a tinker.
Technically a free agent, yeah.
Yeah, and I think he's a tinker. He's a guy who messes around with some stuff.
He'll mess around, but then when he finds something he likes, it stays in the bag. Like,
Yeah.
obviously with that Cleveland Classic driver, he played it for 12 years. And now, kind of just looking at his bag, he still plays the TSI 3 driver at 8 degrees. Obviously, there's new TSR drivers floating around. They're not officially out. We don't know the tech officially, so can't say anything there. But he's still playing the TSI 3 driver. Then he goes TS3, 3-wood. So he hasn't upgraded in a while there. And these specs are accurate as of last week. He played in the Rocket Mortgage as well. So I don't believe that he made any changes for the Wyndham this week. I didn't see him personally testing out anything. So they should still hold up. Utility-wise, he's got a Callaway Apex UW.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you hit that? I've only hit it like a couple times. Where does it like stack up in the bag compared to a hybrid, a 5-wood, and a driving iron? Like what flight? Like what window am I looking at?
It's actually a little flatter than, so it's probably going to be above a driving iron, but under your hybrid, and then under, it's
flying low.
Yeah, I would say that like your fairway wood, 5 or 7 wood is going to fly the highest. Hybrid's probably right under that, and then I would say the UW and then driving iron. If I had to put them, they're long though. The one thing you have to kind of be wary of is if you have, say you're going to replace a hybrid with it. If you're going to replace a 19-degree hybrid with a 19-degree UW, the UW is going to fly further, or it has for most players. So you have to be a little careful because I got the 19. I was kind of putting it in the bag as like a 3-iron replacement, 3 hybrid replacement, and it just goes so far. Like I really need to get the 21 to play as the 3-iron, but it's actually pretty good. It's pretty neutral bias. It's not crazy forgiving, so you'll be able to work the ball, hit draws, hit fades. It's pretty neutral bias, and it flies pretty flat. So for a lot of more skilled players, they tend to go in the bag pretty easily.
That makes sense for Davis Love. He's always been a pretty high ball hitter to me, so I'm sure that he likes that penetrating flight.
Yep.
Probably more forgiving than his Tommy Armour 845 2-iron as well.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think just a smidge longer, and a smidge more forgiving.
Okay, and then he goes to the AP2 718s. So, I said,
70.
he sticks with things for a little bit.
Yeah, but I feel like 718s are kind of in a handful of bags, though. There's something about the 718 compared to that first T100. Mm-hmm. There's something about that 18 that's in a handful of bags, because there's been a few what's in the bags this year that we've still seen some AP2 718s.
And he goes with True Temper Elevate Tour shafts. I personally have never hit it. Obviously, I know they're like a little bit softer, slightly higher launching, right?
Yep. Yeah, a little lighter weight, too. I think even the Tour comes in at like just under 120 grams. I want to say it's like around 115, 118. So a little lighter than Dynamic Gold. They do get the ball up a little higher than like a standard S300 or something like, or X100, depending on what you're comparing it to. But definitely a little lighter weight and a different, pattern. I think they have a different step pattern for a little higher launch. I've got a set. I got the 95s in my PXG irons.
Okay, so you do have pretty solid experience with it. I'll take your word for it. I haven't personally hit them. For me, with iron shafts, I've pretty much gone X100 my whole life. I switched to 6.5s a little bit. I also tried the C-Taper 130Xs. I always just end up like wanting to go back to X100s, and I have those AMT X100s in my T100s right now. I think I'm gonna go heavier. Like I need a little more weight back. I think I'm gonna switch them out for the X100s. I think I said when we were doing like our What's in the Bag episode that I was gonna give them like a proper chance. And it's just when I pick up every other club, then I go back to my irons, it makes them seem so light. Like it just doesn't match with the set, so it kind of throws off my feels a little bit. That's no excuse for how bad I've been playing, okay? But I'm just saying, feel-wise.
They're a little light. No, I mean, that's true. I mean, if you're used to playing that, and that's a big reason why I think you see so many X100 sets out on tour, is that there's a lot of guys who grew up playing an X100, and it's still a great shaft. Like, I'm not trying to knock it. Could they maybe find a little different performance with something else? Probably, sure. Yeah, there's a lot of options out there, but there's so many guys who grew up playing that shaft since they were probably 15, 16 years old, as soon as they were strong enough to swing it, and that's just what they play now. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think that's a big reason why you see so many of them out on tour.
Preach right there. I'm just going to finish up his What's in the Bag real quick. He's got SM9 wedges, so he upgraded to new wedges. He goes 46, so no pitching wedge as part of the iron set. He goes with the SM9 as his pitching wedge. Then 50, 56, 60. He's got a K-grind, 10-degree bounce K-grind, lob wedge. Scotty Cameron Masterful putter. Pretty slick-looking putter. We have photos over on golfwx.com in the forums. I think the easiest way to probably get back to Davis Love III's What's in the Bag, the most recent one that we shot, is to Google Davis Love III What's in the Bag 2021. That'll take you right to the Golf WX forums.
2021?
Yeah, I think that's the last time we like officially shot photos of his clubs.
Oh, gotcha.
But the information that I just went through is accurate as of last week. I went through Titleist to confirm. So all good there. Davis Love III also kind of been popping off in his press conferences. Did you see what he said?
No, I didn't, but I got to believe there's been a lot of people
Everything's
popping
crazy
off.
right now, man. I don't know if we really want to get into all of it, but just while we're on the topic of Davis Love III, he basically said if the PGA Tour allows the guys who left for LIV to come back and play the PGA Tour, that he thinks a boycott might be coming, or he's calling for a boycott. I forget the exact direct quote, but he mentioned boycotting. Like basically the players that stuck around, stayed on the PGA Tour, if the LIV guys come back, they should just not play.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's no way you're gonna tell these guys to not. If you're gonna try to set up a boycott, I just don't see that working. I mean, there's too many guys who are out on tour. It is their living. It's how they make their money. And to tell them to just sit out of a bunch of tournaments because a bunch of LIV players are gonna play, I just don't see. I just don't see that work. I just don't see that happening. I might understand why he wants to do that and all that, but I just don't see that happening.
So here's what's happening. Just a quick update. I really don't want to talk about it, so if you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to. But 11 LIV players are suing the tour for antitrust. Yeah. So basically what they're saying is they want to be able to come back and play on the PGA Tour.
Yep.
They want to play in the FedEx Cup playoffs, the Tour Championship. They want free reign to come back, play on the PGA Tour, but also pocket the big bag of money that LIV gave them to go over there and play in those events as well. There's also talk. I think Patrick Reed's going to play a bunch of international series events over in Asia. I think they're all trying to figure out a way to still get world rankings points to play in the majors. So a lot of talk was had while they were leaving. All their quotes were, this frees me up, family time, less golf, and everyone's kind of ragging on them because they're suing and entering other tournaments to play more golf. It's all a mess right now, man. 2023 is going to be an interesting year because we're going to get a bunch of those answers. The chips are going to fall. Who's going to end up on LIV? Who's going to stay PGA Tour? How is it going to work? Are they going to, if they let the LIV guys play on the PGA Tour, then why wouldn't everyone just grab that LIV money? Like, then you're just leaving money on the table. But then you're still allowed to play the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Like, that would kind of defeat so many different purposes of like the point of LIV, I think. Isn't it to get everyone away from the PGA Tour, and now they're going back to the PGA Tour? I'm very confused.
Well, I mean, I think the original plan for the LIV Tour was to get all the best players and the fan favorites, was to get all them, because then that way people would watch that tour. But I think if it happens where you get to play both tours, then I don't think there will be a huge amount of money to go over and play the LIV Tour unless you're the last couple big names, the Justin Thomases, the Rorys, the couple guys who are left that are really big names. I unfortunately don't think that some of the lower, the less known guys, I don't think that I think that money dries up, because at this point you've got so many names over there. You've got a decent amount of big names. I think that money kind of goes away unless you're one of the biggest left on the PGA Tour. But if you're able to do both, I mean, I don't know. It's from a fan's perspective. I mean, yes, the fans just want to see their favorite players. They don't really care, if they play both or either one or whatever. They just want to see their favorite players. But I don't know. I mean, if you're at the PGA Tour, I feel like you got to stand your ground if you can. I mean, in the legal side, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what's going to go on there. I feel like you got to stand your ground, or else you'll lose more and more players, and you'll kind of get even more diluted. But and if you're LIV, I don't know. I mean, I guess for the exposure, but wouldn't you want your guys playing on your tour and not playing a bunch of other ones too? I mean, I don't know. Maybe the marketing side of that it's worth it for them to go play, but yeah, it's going to be, like you said, 2023 is going to be a really, really interesting year when it comes to golf, for sure.
I think, like with LIV, their whole kind of shtick has been, we're going to give you all this freedom. Like, do what you want, but we're going to pay you a bunch of money to play on this tour, and then you can do whatever else you want from there.
Yep.
Now it seems like they are going to require a minimum amount of events, and then they encourage them to play international series so that they keep getting world ranking points to play majors. And now with this lawsuit, it's just like, what do you guys want? Because just from a general fan perspective, it's like, you got your money. You're going over there and you're competing for money. Like, I understand wanting to play the majors, but now you want to play the PGA Tour. It's like, it is kind of offensive to the guys like Rory, Tiger, JT, who have been like firm in their stance. They're like, no, I'm sticking with the PGA Tour. My loyalty is with the PGA Tour. And really like kind of putting their neck out there to back the PGA Tour. They're standing with their people. And now it's like Phil and Bryson, and they want to come back. It's like, you can't, I hate to use cliches, but that is trying to like have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
The LIV, like, are they going to offer big bags for guys to go over there? Like, if the courts side with the LIV players and they're allowed to play the PGA Tour as well, why would they even need like a big bag up front? If I'm like, say, Victor Hovland or whatever, yeah. I feel like that initial price goes way down now that it's like, well, I could play anywhere I want anyway. So what would be the incentive to dip over to the LIV? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a little confused about the whole thing and what they're actually like getting at here. Because what does Phil Mickelson want?
Yeah.
He wants $150 million or whatever it was from LIV, and he wants to play the PGA Tour and play the majors. It's like there has to be some sacrifice made. Like there has to be. You can't just get a free bag of money and then play wherever you want and then still keep your PGA Tour membership. Like, you flamed everyone on the PGA Tour and said, like, basically, screw you guys. I don't care about you. I'm going to go do this. And you think PGA Tour players are going to welcome him back to PGA Tour ranges with open arms? I don't know.
No, they won't. But also, I think you're 100% right, because none of the guys other than Pat Perez will come out and say it's about the money and not playing as many tournaments. And that's what it was about. And if they want to say it's because it's growing the game, whatever, it wasn't. It was the fact that somebody threw a big bag of $150 million in front of Phil Mickelson, And guess what? The PGA Tour wasn't going to throw $150 million at Phil Mickelson. So he went. And he'll never admit it, but it was for the money. I mean, you'd be better off just admitting. Be like, yeah, they threw a huge sack of money at me. I'm taking it. I want to go play. But you know what? I still do want to play the PGA Tour events because I like some of them and I want to play the majors and whatever. If he comes on and says that, I think everybody's okay with it because everybody's in the same position. If somebody walks up to Andrew Tursky and says, here's a crap ton of money, come play golf over here, and you just say, hey, yeah, I'm going to do, like, if you're just honest about it, everybody's like, okay, I can see myself doing the same thing. But every one of them has the publicist writing the answers, and it's, well, I want to grow the game and I want to do it. No, you don't. You got a bunch of money to play in what you thought was less golf. Now you realize, hey, I want to play more, and you know what? Hey, the PGA Tour does have some really awesome events and some majors that I want to play in and all that stuff. And I lost all that, and now I want it back. So
can't do
that's
that.
my theory on it. Yeah,
Can't do
you
that.
can't. But
I
and
do.
again,
I
that's
will
my
say.
opinion.
I will
That's
just
not-
say that the team thing is pretty interesting. I think the team names are awful. The logos
Terrible.
are really bad, but
God.
them introducing the opportunity to like own the team and then get it sponsored and work with merchandisers and get a cut of that money, I will say that's a little interesting because right now,
Yeah.
like the PGA Tour setup is that you try to get an equipment deal for XX number of dollars. I think that money is probably going down recently. Like equipment sponsored deals, a full
Yep.
insert company here, bag deal plus 13 clubs. I think that money is probably dwindling. So they are looking to probably pad their bank accounts with more income. And I think that team thing where you could sell merch and get a cut of that, I think that's interesting. I'm sure players from other sports would like cuts of their jersey sales and, merchandise sales
Yep.
from in the stadium, their Foot Locker deals. I mean, I'm sure they'd like a cut of that. So if golfers are introduced to that type of income, I think that's pretty intriguing. As a player, that would be something I would definitely want to hear about and hear what percentage we're talking about, how much control I have. Can I try to track down Nike and work with Nike's design team, and then all of a sudden we have hats and merch and stuff that I get a cut of that sells in stores? I think that would be pretty cool, pretty intriguing.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's other factors at play about where some of the money is coming from, and I'm not like looking past that. That's very much the real general point here, but just saying the team thing and profit sharing based on that, having control over that would be kind of fun as a player, something a little different. Anyway, we're moving off of LIV. That's done. Let's get back
Okay.
to the Wyndham Championship here.
All right.
So we thought that Adam Scott might be testing some new irons this week, so we were on the lookout for that. I talked to him a little bit. He's like, I didn't have time to do any iron testing this week, and he's also like, it was really hot. So no iron testing for Scott. He did do a little Strixon ZX driving iron test, though. He's got a steel shaft in there, whereas he has a Mizuno Fly High in the bag, like the black head on there. He's been playing that
Yep.
for months, really. Every time I've looked at his
long
bag
time.
or shot his what's in the bags or talked to him, he's had the Mizuno driving iron in there. Now he's also been kind of working with the Strixon ZX, so that's something to keep an eye on going forward. I don't really have any insight from it. I think he was pretty early in the testing, just something he wanted to try. But if it goes in the bag this week, obviously he's made his decision on that, and we'll catch up with him next week on why the change. I'm just kind of running down some things. Justin Rose was testing a new Axis 1 prototype putter.
Yep.
So really
Saw
it looks like it's one piece. It looks like it's all milled from stainless.
Yeah.
And it looks like that from dress, but it does have a sole plate that's a different material with it's made of aluminum, the sole plate, and then there's 2 tungsten plugs in the heel and toe underneath that sole plate. So it's 3 pieces, technically 3 different materials, but it's milled. The stainless piece is milled, and then it's put together to basically they're trying to get the weighting system and the balance and the torque free exactly the same. Center that CG along the face while making the top part look uniform, like to look a little bit cleaner, because obviously the Axis One, like the Rose Proto that he's been using since 2019, it has the silver front part, the stainless front part, the top line, and then the back piece is carbon. It's really light back piece, so they're kind of just messing around with the look and the weighting, and Justin Rose is out there trying it. He seemed to like it. He said it looks really clean, feels great. I'm not sure if he's exactly going to switch this week. To me, it seemed kind of just fly on the wall watching that he wanted to adjust like the back wings a little bit, just like these small aesthetic changes, but I think he likes the way the putter performs. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe month or next year or a couple weeks down the road that he switches. This week, I'm not sure if he's going to switch. It seemed like he had some feedback and some changes to make, but that's kind of where we're at on Justin Rose. The most interesting part of Justin Rose switching to this Axis One in 2019 is that in the majors, he's currently leading strokes gain putting by a hugely wide margin in all the majors since he switched into that. You wouldn't immediately think of Justin Rose leading majors in putting since 2019, but it's a blowout. I think Webb Simpson's far in second place on that category.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting only because Justin Rose is, like, I mean, I don't want to say he's kind of fallen off, but he's kind of fallen off. I mean, the past few,
did you say Justin
for the past
Rose
couple
is
years,
washed
he's
up?
not.
If he was on the show, would you say he's washed
No, I
up?
didn't say
to
he's
his
washed
face?
up. I didn't say he's washed up. I said the past couple of years he has not played that great. I mean, he's played okay. Wow. He's not played like he did, a few years before that when he was. I mean, there was a time when Justin Rose, I think he was he number one in the world?
Hold on,
or close to
I'm
it.
gonna look up his results real quick. Let's just you keep going, but before we bash Justin Rose for being overrated or whatever you just said.
So
I'm just kidding.
So pretty amazing that he is that far apart or far in front of everybody in the majors. But I do have to say the Axis One, this prototype, looks a lot better than the first one. The original Rose one I didn't like. The two-tone, like you mentioned, the steel front, the carbon back, the silver and black. For whatever reason, the way it went together, it just didn't, to my eye, look very good. And I know Axis One is kind of a little bit of it's a different style putter. It just looks different, so people are going to kind of love and hate it anyway. But I think going to like kind of the all milled look where it's all stainless steel, all silver, I think is a huge improvement. I think it looks way better than some of the previous Axis One models.
All right, so I'm just going to go through real quick. 2021-2022 season, I'll just give the Justin Rose highlights, and then I'll go back one more year because I believe you said he's been washed up for, 2 years?
I didn't say 2, but I said from 2019, I said he has not been his classic old form.
I mean, I think you'll probably be proven right here, but he finished T6 at the Farmers Insurance Open in 2022.
Nice.
He finished T14 Zurich Classic of New Orleans. Obviously, that's a team event. T13 PGA Championship. That ain't bad.
Nope.
T4 at the RBC Canadian Open. T37 U.S. Open. Cut at the Masters. Cut to Players. T9 Hero World Challenge 2021. T12 RSM Classic 2021. And now let's take it back 1 year. Okay. 7th at the Masters 2021.
Yep.
Never heard of the Masters? Oh, he did play pretty well in the majors last year. T8 at the PGA Championship. T46 Open Championship. Missed the cut at the U.S. Open. T10 last year at the Wyndham. So he's got good vibes there. And T17 at the Zozo. So,
I mean, it's not bad.
He made 1.3 mil 2021 season, 21-22. He made 1.4 mil. It's not terrible.
That's it?
I mean, he's out there making money, but
What's out on the money list though? Like 1.4 is like 100. That's not super high
Are
up
you
there.
scoffing at
So that means,
$1.4 million, Brian? No, he was
I mean, if somebody
98th
had to
in the
be
FedEx Cup standings. He's 98th this year. He's 98th right now.
Okay.
Last year he finished 126. Ooh, is he Bubble Boy?
He was just outside. Top 125, I thought, make it.
Okay, so I think it probably proves your point.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, like you said, he's had some great performances, and I don't take that away from him. But I just don't think overall, like you would think, that Justin Rose is putting lights out better than anyone else on tour. It's just a surprising.
Yeah, he
stat.
had a couple obviously pretty good
And-
finishes. 2021, 7th and 8th, I
Yep.
think I said, and then back in 2018, 2019, he made 4.3 million.
Yeah.
He won the Farmers Insurance, 3rd Wells Fargo, T3 at the U.S. Open. So yeah,
he was.
maybe you're right.
I mean, and that's just what I said. I mean, like when you think about like 2015, 16, 17 Justin Rose, it's like, wow, that guy was top of the world. I mean, he was doing really well. He was playing exceptionally well. And then just the past couple of years, he's just kind of, it was like, and I don't want to blame, I'm not blaming it on anything, but that as soon as he made kind of that equipment change from TaylorMade, things seemed to go off the rails a little bit for him. And then he was kind of searching, and I'm not blaming it on the equipment. I think just timing wise, that's around when it was. And he hopefully will get it back. I mean, he's a guy that I think a lot of people like to watch.
His swing's money. I love watching him swing. He works super hard. I think having that big equipment change, it kind of like messed up his game a little bit. You could tell he wasn't all the way comfortable, and then once you kind of take that confidence hit, it is tough to return to being fully 100% confident in what you're using, what you're doing. He did switch back into TaylorMade P730 irons. I don't know exactly when, whether it was this week or very recently, but at the U.S. Open he was using the 620 MBs. So he's still working.
Yep.
He's still working. Still grinding.
Still grinding.
I mean, that's what it's all about. Okay. So 2 more quick topics, and then we'll let you go get focused in on your Ryder Cup. We had some new Odyssey Toulon putters pop up. Did you look at these? I feel like they're your style too.
I did. Yeah, I mean they're kind of they're an Odyssey number 11, an Odyssey 11. They're really much that style. Just instead of being cast and having weight, they're all milled. They have the Toulon diamond face on the front. All that. I think they look really good. I think they do. The shape I think is really solid. Ton of different sightline options for the guys on tour. A bunch of different necks. But overall, I think really clean looking. I kind of like just like the single sight line that goes like the whole length of the top. I think that looks really sharp. But overall, I think they did a really good job. I think they're called the Le Mans. The Le Mans.
I'm happy you pronounced it that way because my
Mans.
pronunciation was not going to be as good. But I have a little inside info from Joe Toulon. Odyssey putter rep, works directly with tour players. I'm sure he helps with design a little bit. He said, it's a prototype mallet that is proving to be very popular shape. We made about 5 or 6 up for guys this week and took orders for about 5 to 6 more. He's thinking that Brian Stewart might put one in play this week, and he's just not sure whether like other guys are actually officially going to make the switch, or they're waiting, they're testing, or they're waiting for their orders. He said size-wise, it's a tad smaller than a White Hot OG number 7. It's got a very similar profile to a number 7, but with a flatter crown and top, allows us to do a variety of different sightline options. And he said a lot of non-staffers showing interest as well.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan. Like I said, the one interesting thing is that they've only got, or at least most of them only have one. Like the Toulon weights have changed. They've kind of gone to a little like oval looking shape, and they've only had with a putter of this size, at least of this length and everything. You'd think there'd be a couple weights on the sole of it, and it's only really got one. It's got one weight right in the front, dead center, right into the face. So I'm assuming that's just dialing in, a little bit of swing weight, head weight to match it up perfectly with whatever the player wants. But yeah, overall, actually, that's a lie. There's one in the very back. I just saw it. If you look at
Don't lie
I'm
to the
not trying
people.
to, but it's kind of hidden under the top flange, and it's only like one certain photo
It is. It
that you
is.
can see it. So there's two little weights there, but they're kind of hidden. So but that's pretty cool. Like I said, I like them. I think they look like a slightly cleaner, like you said, a little smaller version of the Odyssey 11.
Well, check out the forums. It's in the tour and pre-release forum. I believe it's titled Odyssey Toulon Prototype Putters Spotted,
Yep.
Wyndham Championship. And we got one more big forum thread from this week. And I'm going to try to keep this. Okay, we're at 55 minutes. I'm trying to keep it under an hour for you. But do you read Barstool Sports, Foreplay podcast, anything like that?
I don't read any of it, but I'm familiar with Foreplay and all that stuff.
Damn, shots fired. I'm just
I
kidding.
mean,
I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to start some beef right now. So Riggs was out there. Barstool Riggs. Real name is, I don't know how exactly to pronounce it, Sam Bozoian.
something like that. Yeah.
He's like their lead golf guy, Barstool Sports. He hosts the Foreplay podcast. He does the Barstool Classic events. He did the Let Them Play Classic for the NCAA women. He was out there playing with Kevin Kisner in the Pro-Am. So I caught up with Riggs to do a little what's in the bag, see what he had in the bag. Now, it's Riggs, Trent, and Frankie Borelli, lefty.
And there's another guy, another guy, Lurch.
Yeah.
Yep.
They have like a TaylorMade sponsorship. So
Yes,
technically they're on staff with TaylorMade. So he does have an all TaylorMade setup. And I'll kind of just list through the clubs real quick. Definitely go out and go into the forums and check out the photos for yourself. He has like some Ain't No Hobby head covers, which I believe they made into a merch line, which was like a Kevin Kisner quote.
Yep.
This ain't no hobby. So he's got a Stealth Plus 8-degree driver. That was surprising that he went that low. And he has a Hazardous RDX Smoke 70 6.0 flex on the driver. Obviously pretty low loft there, Nuts.
And he's got it set one click lower as well.
Yeah.
So it's like actually like 7.75 or 7 point whatever. But
going lower than
really
Rory is an interesting take, but I do believe he got fit at the Kingdom, so I'm sure he's probably like a high spin guy. They're trying to knock the spin down or something like that.
And I've watched a little bit of their stuff of like them playing against other pros. Like I've watched some of that stuff, and they do like little shot tracers and everything. It doesn't look like he hits it super high. I mean, maybe that's why, because they got him into a lower driver, but everything he hits, seems kind of like it's a pretty penetrating trajectory already. So it's kind of interesting that he's playing an 8-degree head. But like you said, it could be some swing dynamics where he hits down on the ball and creates a ton of spin, because that's a pretty low spin combo right there. I mean, that Project X, Smoke Black, RDX is really low spin. It's low launch, so it's a pretty low spin setup.
And then keeping with the low degrees of loft with the Stealth Plus 3 wood he's got, it is a Rocket 3, 13.5 degrees. Yep. And he's got a Ventus Blue 7S. What do you think about that?
And it's set again like 2 clicks low, and that's a 13.5 degree head. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's something too with maybe his misses left. I mean, again, I've watched a little bit of his stuff. I haven't like analyzed any of his, swings or anything like that. But maybe he misses it left, so they're trying to open that face a little bit to get it to be square at impact. Very different shaft than the Hazardous Black RDX. Lot softer butt section, definitely higher launch. But a good fairway wood shaft if you got like a decent smooth tempo. I mean, I like the blue doesn't fit my swing as well. I'm more of kind of a red guy, but the blue's a good fairway shaft, especially if you're playing like a low launch, low spinner for the driver.
And then he's got the Sim UDI 2-iron, rocking the 2-iron, Hazardous Smoke, 90 gram 6.0 flex on that.
Yeah, I mean that's again a 2-iron. I'd still. Interesting to see this other 2-iron. I feel like maybe like a Stealth or Stealth Plus hybrid might have been the choice there. So kind of interesting to see the 2-iron. Maybe it's just a straight play off the turf or something like that. But I haven't. Oh, it's the sim one too. Yeah, so it's not even the brand new one yet. But that's a low launching boy right there. So he's hitting definitely some missiles.
You can tell he
out there.
plays a lot and practices a lot just by like the wear and tear of the club faces, etc. Then he goes down to the irons P770 4 through 9 because he has a mill grind. Pitching wedge and shaft wise, he's got Project X LZ 6.0s in there. Project X LZ a little bit lighter than normal Project X.
Yeah, just a couple grams though. But the interesting thing is, so he's got super low loft driver, super low loft fairway wood, a 2-iron, and then he goes into 770s, which launch fairly high. I mean, I've got a 770s, and I like them, with a Project X LZ, which is a higher launching shaft. So does he hit driver and wood super low, and then he hits, or super high, and then he hits iron super low? It's a very interesting. I mean, again, he got fit, so I mean, I'm not going to question that. It's just a very interesting setup to see a high launching shaft when everything else is built for basically low launch, low loft.
It doesn't seem all the way coherent.
Or maybe the heads. Like
you never know what they did with the heads and the lofts and internal weighting.
Yeah, exactly. But the 770s are great. And I think for a guy like him, who I think he's I want to say he's like a 7 handicap or something like that, or a 5 handicap.
I think he's less
pretty
than
low single digit.
7. I was following them for a couple holes.
Yeah,
I
might
mean,
be a
he
5,
had a couple
something
like
like that.
4 rights off the tee. But it looks like he plays pretty well. His short game's solid.
Yeah.
Hit a really good bunker shot in the one hole. He's definitely like got game. He's a decent player. Probably the type to go out and just shoot like 77, 78, like pretty much wherever we're at.
Oh yeah. I mean, the guy plays golf every single day, and I don't mean that as a knock. I'm just saying, like, if you follow them on social media, whatever, he is playing golf or hitting balls in the range, whatever, every single day. So, not to say that he should be good, but I mean, like, you're going to be a decent player if you play every day, and he has the luxury through his, his media that he gets to play every day, which is good for him.
And then we got a bunch of mill grind 3 wedges. We got 46 degrees, 52 degrees, 56 with. It looks like a custom grind on the bottom there to kind of take away a little bounce on the leading edge, and then the 60 degree with definitely a custom grind, or he like hit a cart path too many times and the sole is super smoothed out. But yeah, you got to look at the photos. I put them up on Instagram, Golf WRX Instagram, or they're in that forum thread. But the 60 degree definitely has an interesting grind on it. Raw faces, definitely gets a lot of wear and tear. He practices a lot. You could just tell by how scratched up the face is. And then the putter. He's got a pretty cool little My Spider X putter, red, white, and blue, which I believe is Barstool Sports' colors, like the navy, red, and white, and USA for obvious purposes. It's a cool little putter. Definitely a custom job. He definitely needs to put the head cover on it probably a little bit more. It's pretty dinged up there in the back and the front.
It's pretty
but it's cool.
up.
I mean, I always like the My Spider X where you can control the colors and make it look how you want. I think he did a good job designing it.
Yeah, and the 56 is just the low bounce 08, which the low bounce they did add kind of that leading edge bevel, which probably makes it look different. Okay. But that was inspired a little bit by the TW grind.
Extra leading edge bevel, but
yeah.
What about that 60?
Yeah, it's got it because I think he's just used it so much. Like, it doesn't look like it's because I feel like if they would have ground it, it would have been a little bit more uniform. That to me, I think he's just used it so much out of the bunker and stuff like that, and chipping and whatever he used. I think he's just used it a ton. Okay. It's just worn off.
I thought maybe that was the case.
I
was like 50-50 between that's a super custom grind and he just uses it a lot, and probably out of the desert on cart paths and just That's his club that he chips with all the time, I bet.
Yeah, I think so too. I bet he just uses his 60 for everything, like every sand shot, all that. He uses his 60, and it's just worn out, which is pretty interesting because he is a tailor-made athlete. I'm pretty sure he could just make a phone call and get a new 60 degree made up with his specs and all that.
I'm sure he stopped at the TaylorMade tour truck after the round and was like, "Hey guys, freshen me up here."
Yeah. Yo, Shane, Wade, toss me a new 60, buddies. Let's go. But no, I mean he's played in a bunch of pro-ams. He plays a ton of golf, man. It's a lot of people hate on him because his putting stroke is kind of a little bit wacky, but the dude's like a 5 handicap. So, you know, I mean, the guy gets to play golf every day. I think a lot of people are jealous of him. And I mean, I'm a little jealous that he gets to play golf every day, but he's got a solid setup. It's a bag that I could definitely see myself playing, just not that low a loft. I'd have to raise
I need
up
some
a
more
little bit.
loft than that myself. But yeah, speaking to his janky putting stroke, I know a lot of guys with janky putting strokes that I ain't betting against. And he's been just
like
playing
Will
a lot. You know,
Zalatoris.
like when you go and travel all different places and you play with different people and you kind of get your game like tested. You know, it's travel tested, battle tested. You're just not like scared of anything really. Like if you go out and play for money, it's not really that big of a deal. It doesn't matter what course it is. You want to go play the tips, fine. You know, he's been playing a lot and in a lot of different situations with Kisner and pros and stuff like that, you know. So you kind of get over that shell-shocked golfer feeling when you're traveling or playing for money or anything like that. So I'm not going to hate on his putting stroke. It seems to work well. He gets it around. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And that'll do it from the Wyndham Championship. Knudson, I know you got a Ryder Cup to go win. Make sure you bring home that trophy. I want a trophy appearance next week. Let's see how many beers fit in it. All that.
Oh, I'm trying to think. Does it have? I don't know if it has like an actual little cup on it. I'll have to double check. I think it's just got a golfer on the top. I'll have to double check.
Well, play well.
I'll see it tomorrow.
Confident shots, conservative targets. This was Two Guys Talking Golf from the Wyndham Championship. We'll see you next week.
Still go, go, go.